What up, my freaks? Ruinous Insight here with part 62 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Archaon the Everchosen Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, with the fall of Zorn, the dwarfs have been wiped out for good. The Chaos Tide continues to advance, and soon very little will remain of what once was a civilized world. Now we have begun the time skips as well at this point in the campaign, as there are only a couple of episodes remaining, and as we can see, Illustria has nearly fallen as well. This is all probably going to be auto-resolved since there are no stacks here. Then the same sort of thing is going to start happening up here as well. As we can see, our forces are moving in towards the south. Armies, 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 all armies, all the time, everywhere. Archaon is not going to know what hit him, as all of these forces will move through his territory and then through KHEMRI's and down towards the last of the elves and the lizards and down here. That said, that doesn't mean it's all auto-resolves, and obviously while the time skips going, or keep going, we're going to be picking the best battles to fight, and namely, for example, right now, we have a bunch of elves, 3 full stacks, or near so, belonging to the Dusk Peaks, for Malefac's Rune Smasher, and between these armies there's basically like a stack and a half of nothing but archers, which should be pretty significant and frightening for this army. I'm interested to see how we do here. So let's move everybody on in, and then let's give this battle a, well, battle. And camp stance for you. Oh wait, that does nothing for chaos. Do any of these really do anything for chaos? I don't want the figure loss reduction. Alright, just everybody, it doesn't matter. Alright. You can go into summoning stance, and then you can strike Mr. Malefic's. Valiant defeat and high casualties, that's what I like to see, and certainly worthy of a fight towards the end of this campaign. Damn, that's a lot of archers. I wish we had more fast movers for this, but, well, we're just gonna have to overcome. Go.
We will bring the true power of the Plague Father to bear.
Alrighty, but not the Plague Father alone. This is our mixed god army, or at least one of our mixed god armies, and we got lots of units working together. That Zintian disc up above our hero, the Nurgle exalted hero, leading Knights of Khorne into battle here. It's all great, and we definitely have to enjoy this one as best we can, as this is likely to be the last battle for Malefac's Rune Smasher. Certainly, I don't think that there's any other threatening armies remaining on the entire continent of Illustria, and this is likely to be the only one that is of a challenge here. At least these Knights of Khorne will get to play, especially since Valkia has by and large turned them all into Skull Crushers now, so these are technically the only Knights of Khorne we have anywhere on the map. Anyway, and they're going to charge forward. Their goal isn't actually to go for the Silveran Guard, but unfortunately the Silveran Guard have the mass and the defense to not allow the Khornate Knights to charge directly through them, which is unfortunate for us, as we need to get into that back line right stat. The way that we're going to try to do this is, we obviously can't fight, or don't want to fight, all 3 stacks at once, especially with the sheer amount of range firepower they have. This is why we're rushing forward. The Knights and the Marauder horses and the Fiends of Slaanesh have gone in relatively unsupported, while our infantry of various gods are booking it forward. Everybody is moving at whatever speed they have to try to get to battle as soon as possible. It's too bad we don't have those Slaaneshi buffs that make them run so fast, like twice as fast as our other gods units, but at least these guys are in a line together. Anyway, the idea here is to try to destroy or otherwise rout the first army, army before the big ol' reinforcing blobs arrive and start shooting us up. Alright, again, a few shots from the skull cannons and from the marauder horses as they do their little drive-by and then head on in. Gonna work together with the Knights of Khorne over on this side, but mostly we're just going to try to charge through in order to get to the back line. We don't really care about the spears or Severian Guard. In fact, we can leave them to be destroyed later by the trolls and by the infantry as they move in. Or at least that's the plan. A curse of the... no, that's a miasma of pestilence comes down on the blob of infantry here, and there we go. And the motorcycles are going to screw with all of those spear formations, which does work out quite well for us, and will allow our trolls and Khorne knights to dish out the damage. Although it's hard to watch what's happening when we're all blobbed up like this with relatively large mass units. Over on the rightmost flank, the Fiends of Slaanesh have arrived, rushing through those jungles and are working together with the marauder horses of Tzeentch to bring down some relatively unprotected archers. And quite quickly, we might add, but that's just as it should be. Really shouldn't leave the Fiends of Slaanesh to be facing off against spears, which our Khornate units should be able to handle. At least that's the dream. Here come our infantry, the Marauders, or Marauders, Chaos Warriors of Khorne, and Nurgle have already arrived, and the units of Tzeentch that were on the flanks are moving in to help. Obviously, we kept the Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch on the flank specifically in case we did get flanked ourselves. Very nice. Very nice. It looks like with that, the first of the enemy armies is at the very least heavily damaged, though not destroyed, but the enemy reinforcements have arrived, and we need to start thinking about backing off for a couple of reasons. One, we are kind of in open territory right now, which is not conducive to not getting shot by like 30 archer units all at once. Two, there's a very nice blob of trees here, and we can use this jungle as cover if we're careful about how we set up our infantry. Plus, we do want to draw the enemy forward, both to hit them with spells like this Firestorm of Tzeentch, especially while the enemy remains blobbed up. And on top of that, if they move forward, it will allow us more time to run them down as soon as the battle is over, assuming, of course, that we manage to win it. And the idea there is that we don't have to fight them again immediately after. Anyway, our forces are backing off. We're going to once again do our best to use the cover of the jungle as best we can, and we can leave our summoned unit of Chaos Spawn to cover our retreat. They don't even know what's happening, obviously, the Chaos Spawn, and that's why it's appropriate to use them for such a thing. They're probably not even cognizant of the fact that the rest of our army has abandoned them and the Forsaken. They're just in it to slaughter some of those elves, and you gotta respect that, mindless or not. Anyway, looks like an enemy handmaiden of the Everqueen decided to keep or lock down our Chaos War Shrine of Nurgle, and we're gonna try to surround and destroy the handmaiden and the prince that's come a-calling. And before the rest of the enemy army has arrived, we managed to split off most of our infantry into the jungle now, where we have protection from the enemy arrows. Very nice, very nice. I'm gonna try to get a second use of that. Oh wow, I've never seen that all go in the same direction before. Huh. Funnily enough, it all went in the wrong direction, but you know what, that's just my luck with vortexes. I feel like I have atrocious luck with vortexes, but I mean, it depends on which vortex. Like, I swear I've never gotten a good use of Purple Son of Zeraeus. Every single time I've used that spell, every single time, it goes in the worst possible direction. Flamestorm, on the other hand, I've had very decent experience with, and same with Skullstorm. And I know it's sort of like superstition or whatever, but at this point I just seem to like to use those spells I've had better luck with before, rather than the ones I haven't. Anyway, our infantry in the trees continue to fight, but over on the leftmost flank, our fast movers, our motorcycle riding skull cannons, and our Knights of Khorne are still embroiled in combat, getting a little bit of help from those Nurglish warhounds, or Hounds of Decay, as well as the Marauder Horses of Tzeentch, which have entered melee combat. We'll definitely have to be careful with that, but they are primarily fighting range units, which isn't the biggest concern. concern. And the reason they're able to do so is most of the enemy melee units, we can see all the spears and the white lines here, are now engaged with the Chaos Warriors of Khorne and with the help of the Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch. Alright, not looking too bad so far. And a really fun battle too, and it's looking pretty darn atmospheric. I'm enjoying this one. But honestly, towards the end of this campaign, I feel like I'm enjoying a lot of the battles. We got a very good mix in this campaign, but that's just the nature of playing the Warriors of Chaos, where we can try a little bit of everything. And it's really working out. They're really fun to play. In terms of just sheer variety, Warriors of Chaos might be the most fun faction to play, in terms of just building so many different types of armies. If we had more time and more lands to conquer, we probably could have built even a few more armies, like an all-ranged army combining Marauder horses and various ranged gifted units like, like Snipey Soul Grinders and, well, really any Tzeentchian gifted units. Horrors, Flamers, etc., etc., etc. That option would have been there. I also never ended up building a chariot army in this particular campaign, and the reason for that isn't that I don't like them. I remember in my Throg campaign, I built an army that was all chariots and Marauder horses, and it worked very, very well, shockingly well, as the Marauder horse masters that were used in that particular army are very nice and effective. And that was before the huge buffs to veterancy, so I can only imagine how powerful they would have been to this point. But yeah, the reason I didn't do that in this campaign is that the auto-resolve just freaking hates chariots. It hates them so damn much and constantly obliterates them, which is really unfortunate. The auto-resolve has a tendency to do the same thing to Kislevite war sleds, which I really love as well, and are basically one of the only missile chariots I actually enjoy using constantly, slash spamming. Well, now I say one of the only. I like war wagons too. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. The battle's over. We're chasing the enemy down as best we can. Frankly, the battle ended as soon as we were able to force the enemy melee line into the trees to get stuck fighting our Chaos Warriors of Khorne, while our fast movers, our knights, our fiends, our horses, and our motorcycles all obliterated the enemy ranged line. A very nice heroic victory for Malefics. Ooh, alrighty, a very nice fight with a lot of potential for being heavily damaged. We've certainly seen other armies of ours suffer a lot of casualties against massed elven archer fire, but we were able to carefully approach this fight, use the terrain to our advantage, and destroy and pick apart the enemy armies before they could leverage all that range superiority. Well done to Malefics once again. You've done a great job in Lustria, good sir. Just like Norvegicist, we threw you in the deep end, and you still came out on top. In terms of kills, looks like the Chaos Knights of Khorne cleaned house. In particular, this first knight got 45k damage, nearly 80k damage on the Chaos Sorcerer of Tzeentch as well, and a couple of those firestorms certainly worked out this time around, just because the enemy had such a big blob of a unit that at least some of the, I don't know, projectiles, mini vortexes, whatever, from the firestorm really worked out. Once again, the Fiends of Slaanesh do plenty of damage, 25 and 28k as well, and plenty on our Marauder Horses of Tzeentch. They had a lot of archers to chase down after all. They probably didn't contribute too much to actually damaging units, but, well, it's pretty important to chase down. Alright, very, very nice. So let's see what we've got here. An Armor of Destiny for Iber. I think that is something Malefics would deserve instead. And, okay, you can keep that. Chaos War Shrine for Hudakai. No, wait, who's Hudakai? There are too many heroes. I don't know who you are. Oh, you're in Chance Army. No. The Flying Army, you should be on a disc. Very much so. And what about the other guy? Ah, he also got a War Shrine. Everybody on discs, please. I'm glad I checked that out. They leveled up together at the same time. Alrighty, back to what we've got going on over here. Malefics, you should probably loop around and attack this guy. And this should be auto-resolvable now. Not too much left. Certainly not enough left to be worthy of a fight. We will once again execute captives, and we cannot reach the Citadel of Dusk, so we'll simply move into Dusk Peaks, heal up, and destroy it next turn. Oh. Sack it. And you still have room. Beautiful. Enemies killed in battle. And occupy. Can you two move? You can move, you cannot move. Actually, you probably... Nope, you still cannot move. Alright, you two stay together just in case someone attacks you. I doubt that something will, but why risk it, right? Level 8 and level 9. Yes, they both got their... Oh, wow. What the heck? These Chaos Knights instantly got to Skull Crusher level, or at least one of them did, from one battle. Damn, we got a lot of XP for that. Well deserved. It's just too bad that these guys weren't already Knights, or we could have already gotten Doom Knights for you. Oh well, Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. There we go. Now we have a Skull Crusher, and we'll soon have a Chaos or another Skull Crusher in here as well. Lovely. Lovely indeed. Alrighty, but that's not the only battle. I do believe we had another one this turn. If only I could remember where. There were so many things. I believe Norvegicus, yes. Outside of KHEMRI now. Let's see about hitting KHEMRI itself and knocking it out. You, sir. Could keep leveling up Warp Fire. We don't have Decaying Brand. Yeah, we should probably get Decaying Brand for the Paragon of Decay. And Acidic Ichor doesn't do anything for us, so we're good with that. Then we'll go into Warp Fire and continue leveling up the casts. Oh, to be higher level once again. But anyway. Low level or not, Norvegicus always performs on a high level. Ha 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 ha. Alright, Infernal Champion for you, hard to hit, and let's get into another fight. Valmir, you're going to reinforce as you do. I wonder if these guys will be willing to fight us outside the settlement. Let's find out. You go here, sir. And I'm saving you all for Archaon, unless they all attack you, huh? I don't know if they're capable, or whether they just have to sit there. I guess we'll find out after we fight. If Norvegicus has to kill them all, he does. Hopefully we can save it for Archie, for his final fight of the campaign. Especially considering the garrison itself should be pretty strong there. Anyway, Pyrrhic victory, and yes indeed, they will fight. Hardly surprising considering the sheer amount of elite troops they have. That's a lot of constructs. Almost the entire army is composed of constructs or construct riders, and tons of tomb guard, decent amounts of artillery for artillery pieces, lots of cavalry. The Ushabti with great bows should be fearsome foes. Away we go. Alright, I kept waiting for the speech, but it never came. Anyway, here we go. Norvegicus at it yet again. He's been such a frickin' menace to the Tomb Kings throughout this campaign, and I guess that's, that's going to continue. Anyway, we Vanguard deployed our Hounds of Decay forward and had them destroy real quickly, I might add, the enemy Casket of Souls, while Norvegicus has moved in and to obliterate the enemy Tomb King with a big old whack or a stomp, I guess. From his maul. The Tomb King's down to about 30% HP, and by the looks of it will be destroyed before the enemy army arrives onto the field. I really like that animation, but it doesn't work so well when you're really close up to the screen. There we go. Oh, that was pretty good. It looks like I like how the final blow was delivered by the Spirit Leech while Norvegicus was doing a triumphant roar before the enemy had fallen. Very nice, my friend. He's already killed so many Tomb Kings and Tomb Princes over the course of this campaign that, that's what we should expect. But anyway, enemy reinforcements are moving on to the field, and there's plenty of them to be working with, so we've got to be careful people here. Now, the enemy obviously has some artillery pieces, but we're going to target them all together best we can with all 5 of our soul grinders and both of our plague claw catapults. They are going to start shooting back, and I'm willing to bet 99% likely that they are targeting our rattling guns. And of course, they are. First of the rattlings has dropped. I guess technically there's 2 units per rattling crew, but yeah. And it looks like they did clip one of the Chaos Warriors of Nurgle, but he's getting right back up from that with 263 armor, 200 and... It'll be 273, I think, next episode, but yeah. They've got so much armor, it's pretty ridiculous. Alright, well, it looks like that Screaming Skull catapult has begun to crumble away, huh? Well, why did the AI decide to use Sand Veil on it? Stalk and Unspottable. But Stalk and Unspottable doesn't give you snipe, so it'll just continue to fire and reveal itself. Curious. Perhaps for the moment it wasn't firing, it might have stopped our targeting from our units of soul grinders and such. Maybe that's why it decided to do it. Anyway, Norvegicist, as usual, continues acting on his own. He hardly needs the support of his army, so he's dropped down in the enemy back lines and is obliterating 2 enemy units of Screaming Skull catapults. Just gotta damage 1 enough so that it allows us to summon the Chaos Spawn onto the field. Slash we can move in some doggos. Also, interestingly enough, it looks like the Soul Grinders are in fact able to dish out decent bits of damage when combined with the Plague Claw catapults, with their bombardment to actually hurt Ushabti with Great Bow. Granted, it's taken a lot of focus fire to do like 60% damage to a single unit, plus a little bit of help from the Spirit Leech, but nonetheless. It's better than nothing, considering we're still in the ranged shootout aspect of this. Now, unfortunately, something weird is happening to the AI. While it kept the range units back, actually not all the range units either, all the melee units and the enemy lords seem to be heading over here for some reason. I don't know what the heck they're doing, but this leaves their range units completely undefended. A bit unfortunate, but, you know, frankly, we've destroyed so many Tomb King armies at this point with this particular army that, well, it's not a big deal. I feel like I'd be more disappointed if Tomb King battles were rare for Norvegicist, or if this was another lord that was fighting them. But honestly, at this point, I think they have a plague of the mind of some kind has affected them at this point. Which is an interesting lore question, actually. Could a Nurgle plague... I mean, Nurgle plagues are magical, so in theory it might be able to affect the Tomb Kings in some way. On the other hand, the Tomb Kings and generally the undead are kind of anathema to the very idea of chaos. So, who knows? Who knows? But anyway, if the enemy's going to do this, we're just gonna take advantage of it, whatever. Bombardment will begin by all 5 of our Soul Grinders right into this blob. Granted, it's not gonna do a crazy amount of damage because it's a bunch of constructs, essentially, in a single location, but it'll hopefully kick the anthill and force them towards us shortly. And ooh, nice stagger. I like that. That was nice. Just as our Soul Grinder was about to fire, it got hit by arrows from that unit of Ushabti with Great Bow, which is interestingly enough peeled away from the rest of this blob of enemies. Said blob of enemies is suffering quite a bit from the Soul Grinder bombardment, however. At the very least, the infantry are nearly destroyed, and all of the Necro Serpents, the Necropolis Knights, are down to about half HP. In the meantime, with the enemy having peeled away all its infantry in a move that speaks of the madness of the ages or the madness of the plagues of Nurgle, the enemy ranged line have been pretty much destroyed by Norvegicist, with a little bit of support from the Doggos and the summoned Chaos Spawn, which are now actually being destroyed by a unit of Necropolis Knights, but we are hardly concerned about that, because the Doggos can always move in and tidy the Necropolis Knights up. We've certainly seen the Doggos face off against Necropolis Knights quite successfully before, and ooh, looks like Norvegicist brings down a Tomb King. Did he just knock him away and kill him? Yeah, I think he did. Very nice. Very, very nice. And how's this poor blob doing? I don't know what you guys, what the point of that was, but we've essentially expended all our ammunition on this. Out of curiosity, though. Now, getting plenty of damage just because of this bombardment. I know it's silly, but it's not like we can do anything about this. We can't really force the AI to play. I do wonder what happened here, why this happened. This seems to be the location where we were able to kill off the... we were able to kill off the army that was outside, as in the first army that we did attack. So I think what might have happened is that these guys were moving in to reinforce as their last orders, and I guess it just sort of kept those orders, and despite the fact that all those units were destroyed, the entire enemy army attempted to move there. Why they didn't stop that beats me. Anyway, there is still a Khemrian War Sphinx riding Tomb King. Oh, actually, it's just the Khemrian War Sphinx. The Tomb King's all the way over there and has lost about half his HP to the bombardment. Alright, well, it's time to take out the War Sphinx. I guess we're certainly not going to let him charge our range lines, staggering from all these blows from the Soul Grinders as they surround and destroy it. I also realized that this army, because we have the Rattling Guns here together with the Soul Grinders, it's a fairly mechanized army. We've tried to go with a more mechanized theme as well. I really wish that we could, that there was techs or that there was some kind of stuff and that would allow you to use more than 4 units of the Legions, and generally speaking, give you an easier time of acquiring Allegiance units as well. Once again, I just think it's such a cool system, and it's often a waste not to get the most out of it. Anyway, with that, the enemy army pretty much dies. The enemy Tomb King charges forward. And he dies right before reaching the Exalted Hero. That was hilarious. The way he sent his sort of skeletal steed forth. You know that thing where you sort of, like in movies where they sort of ride the motorcycle and then jump off it at the last second and send the motorcycle as a projectile at somebody? It looked like he did that with his skeletal horse. Of course, it probably just crashed into the chaos steroided up steed and just exploded into bits. But yeah, that was pretty entertaining. Anyway, Tomb Scorpion's the last thing on the field, and it has of course moved in foolishly to where it is surrounded by the Exalted Hero and our Lord Norvegicus and all the Soul Grinders. I keep wanting to call them all Zomborgs, and gets destroyed. I don't know in what world that was possibly a close victory, because that was a free win, basically. A free win. Alright, well, there you have it, folks. Battle was not nearly as tough as it perhaps might have been, but what can you do after just wreaking absolute havoc throughout Nehekhara? Norvegicus has finally broken the spirits of the Tomb Kings. In fact, he broke them so hard it seems that he broke the AI itself, which just didn't know how to play anymore. It just blobbing up and doing absolutely nothing. Well done, Norvegicus. I think at last you've finally proven your worth to the gods. We are going to kill the captives, of course, and I guess we're taking KHEMRI. And we'll see if these guys actually decide to attack us. Aren't Great Chaos Strike? Nah, I prefer these guys unmanned, of course, to be perfectly honest. They are not as big targets, essentially. Yes, you go here, you occupy. Lovely. And I guess they've come to the wrong place, not that it really matters. Cultist Camp, you know what? There are a few regions where we could use the additional Chaos Corruption as there's a little bit of an annoying tendency for the vampiric corruption to stick around, or it's taking a long time for it to go down, and thus we need to bring the cultist camps around. Anyway, we are, I believe, ready to end the turn, or at the very least I'm ready to end the turn between the episodes. No more fights this turn remaining, so I think it's time for another time skip. Or you know what, just to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to end the episode here instead. I mean, don't have to go super long episodes right now. I'm going to end this one here, and we'll come back around after the time skip with more auto-resolves completed, assuming no more battles, of course. But I do know the next turn we'll be fighting if Archaon the Black does not sally out of Lashik with these guys, Demahar Crowbrother and the Demon Prince of Khorne with... we're level 7. We'll be striking at Lashik. So we've got that to look forward to next time. Stay tuned for it. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.